Alright folks, welcome back to the apartment of Deven-7 of Boctel. This is Let's Play the Spacebar. I don't know why the sound sync started to become a bit of an issue in the last video or two. But, we're just gonna keep on going on. Because at this point I'm really just kind of messing around with Deven-7's Flashback servants' quarters. Those doors lead to the area where the robo-servants are housed. You wouldn't dream of setting foot in there. Dispensary. This opening into one of the auxiliary kitchens is a dispensing location for food and drinks during cocktail parties and small dinner parties. That door is plot-oriented, so we're going to leave it alone for right now. We can get into the gelatin tub.
Ah, my arms, legs, and tentacles are now relaxed. This is where I unwind and let down my tentacles. The warm gelatin is...
Okay. So is it...
Back to work. So many planets to buy, so little time.
Is it implied that he was naked for that? Because I'm not into that. Is there more stuff to... I thought there was more stuff in this place to examine than this, actually.
The cornerstone of many a successful dinner party or business deal is the VMC 1000 Volt King. This can put an entire diplomatic delegation into the pool face down and still have enough juice on reserve to seed an electrical storm in the greenhouse.
Hey, there's another Seraphim. Let's... Urk-4, one of the 5 wealthiest Seraphins. You have only the highest regard for her deal-making abilities. Her leverage buyout of the entire Gamma Deltoid sector is legendary. You studied it in school. Let's not talk to her while we're apparently drunk, though. I'm curious if it makes any difference.
You have violated one of the most basic rules of deal-making. I have lost all confidence in you and will no longer consider investing in your venture.
Okay, so I shouldn't have done that. I didn't think it would let us do that,
I
actually.
must be mad to waste my insanely valuable time talking to an obscure nothing such as yourself. However, it is so rare to be able to discuss my dealings with someone who is incapable of using that knowledge against me.
Jeez.
So, have you ever bought any planets I've heard of?
Probably. I've been owner or part owner of 783 planets, including 322 inhabited planets. Have you ever heard of Slag 5?
Sure, that planet that was almost pure Vegemite to the core.
That was one of mine.
But wait, Slag 5 was broken up into rubble and sold to a refinery. 6 billion people had to be relocated.
Yes? What's your point?
I bet the deal...
Okay, so maybe he's not a nice guy. At any rate, I didn't think you could kiss her.
You have violated...
Okay, apparently you can goof up and...
Look at the time. Where does it go? Gotta run.
Perhaps you should resort to using Disc 2.
Yeah, so what we're going to do is we're going to quick read about the Seraphins, and then we're going to attempt his little side quest. I don't think it's necessary, but that's sort of what we've been doing. Although we didn't read about Thud's species or Fleabix's species before we did theirs, so I don't know. Maybe I just feel like reading instead of solving puzzles because I did such a crappy job on the last couple of flashbacks, making them all stretch out into way too many videos, and just generally not acquitting myself well. Maybe I just want to use the autoplay feature again. I just love the autoplay so much. but I do want to get his going because I remember what he gives you when you win the bet. And it's kind of amusing, and at the same time it ends up being very useful. So, well, first of all, let's read real quick about the Noblitzi and the Salavraster, because we didn't read about them. Salavrasters are large, physically menacing creatures which stand 6 feet tall, enormous jaws, snarl to reveal butchers, knife-sized fangs. The burly arms wield long claws that can be clicked together like a crab's pincers to scare off potential foes. Waterfalls of saliva and undigested food gush from the mouth, and beady eyes systematically sweep the vicinity for potential food sources. Despite appearances, however, the Salavraster is gentle and playful. Its intelligence is dismal, and of its very few instincts, none are the slightest bit sensible or helpful. They have a particular affinity for covering their eyes, regardless of the nature of the social activity at hand. Their moods range from muted joy to muted disappointment. In fact, most things that go through their minds can be described as muted. Salavasters reproduce asexually, according to no schedule or outside catalyst that social scientists have been able to determine. The only sign the Salavraster is preparing to reproduce an inexplicable desire to enter the nearest forest. Once there, it will cough up a larval Salavraster, but as a cat hacks up a hairball. Abandon the larva will forage for a year until it comes stumbling into town, full-grown and ready to assume an adult lifestyle. Millennia ago, the Salavraster became linked with another survival disadvantaged species in a symbiotic relationship. This race and the Noblitzi are very intelligent but pitifully weak, thus complementing the Salavrasters. As millennia pass, their complementary traits increase to the point where each prefers the part of any food that the other despises. Thus, when splitting a blue Danebi endive, the Noblitzi prefers the squishy core, while the Salavraster considers the stem a delicacy. Annual pairing ritual occurs in Izorian communities. Noblitzi springbucks propel themselves upstream, toiling against the current to arrive at the encampment of Salavrasters, who have unfailingly forgotten about the whole thing and are caught completely by surprise. Then, one by one, the Salavrasters wade into the stream and pick a Noblitzi by its antennae, and the two become mates for life. The Noblitzi never stops grumbling that the Salavraster could easily have made the short walk downstream. The adult Noblitz reaches a height of no more than 11 inches. Plump and pear-shaped, the Noblitz lacks defense mechanisms save for a coat of shimmering orange scales which yield to all but the bluntest of instruments. The Noblitzi features one gaping eye, as well as an enormous fish-lipped mouth which runs the width of their face and supplies their little bodies with generous quantities of oxygen. A lone antennae pokes skyward and receives audio and radio signals. On many planets, mammalian life evolved from waterborne creatures slithered up on land. In contrast, the Noblitzi have, over time, abandoned dry land for the rivers and streams of their homeworld, Izor. The flippered legs are still pretty useless in the water, but at least they keep the Noblitzi's not-too-seaworthy body upright as it bobs along from place to place like a forgotten beach ball. This evolutionary quirk has not stopped the Noblitzi from developing a remarkably high level of intelligence. The Noblitzi are genderless. Once each year, just after the winter thaw, they asexually reproduce a single egg, spiny and uncomfortable looking. The pregnant Noblitz lays the egg in a nearby river, which carries the egg to downstream pools, which act as great hatching grounds. The newborn Noblitz looks like a miniature version of its parent, with the exception of its antenna, which is fully grown at birth. It grows and develops independently and without any nurturing. Millennia ago, they became linked. Okay, I'm looking to see if it's at all different. It is. With another disadvantaged species, this race is Salavraster is physically strong but woefully dim-witted, thus complementing the Noblitzi. As millennia pass, their complement increases to the point where each person, when eating a quantilope, the Noblitz devours the tender organs, while the Salavraster chews delightedly on the horns. The annual pairing ritual occurs in Izor's communities. Noblitzi springbucks propel themselves upstream. Okay, that is exactly the same. Once mated and removed from the river, the Noblitz maintains its pH-balanced aquatic environment through the use of a glass jar. Historically, this jar was fashioned by the Salavraster within the first few months of the relationship, mostly the result of unabated nagging on the part of the Noblitz. Modern Noblitzi, realizing that even this simple task strains the limited tool-using capabilities of Salavrasters, have generally consented to the use of old pickle or mayonnaise jars. Noblitzi are able to talk endlessly, mostly complaints and accusations of misconduct, an ability exacerbated by the fact that they require no sleep. Salavrasters, by contrast, need a lengthy sleep. They tend to thrash about violently in their sleep, often washing walls and furniture in the process. Therefore, the Noblitzi, jar and all, is placed on the front stoop at night. Social scientists note that there has never been a reported Noblitzi theft. As recently as 2 centuries ago, the planet Izor was still in a nearly prehistoric state, since the Noblitzi were capable of tremendous inventive thought, but the Salavrasters were incapable of following all but the simplest instructions. Recently, however, the Marmali have begun to colonize Izor, bringing with them tremendous advances in technology. Noblitzi can now use computers to communicate, record their thoughts, and play Norblian checkers. In this age of transgalactic travel, the Noblitzi intelligence has given them a reputation as the finest interstellar navigators and boardroom negotiators. A few Noblitzi have been ushered off-world and into these positions, with their Salvester mates brought along for peace and productivity. A number of Noblitzi have tried pairing with other species other than Salvesters. As of yet, no other species has been able to tolerate a day-to-day company of Noblitzi for more than 8 kiloticks. Marmali. Oh, that's these guys. There's a particularly high level of bad feeling between humans and Marmali. I don't really feel like reading this whole thing. Possibly stemming from a high aversion by humans to the unwelcome goo that a Marmali tentacle deposits during a handshake, and possibly stemming from the fact that a human military force accidentally defoliated 94% of the Marmali home planet during their first encounter. However, since there are few humans on Armpit 6, this mutual dislike is rarely a problem. Yeah, so that would explain why none of them seem to like you. But now let's read about the Seraphins. That would appear to be Deven-7 himself. The Seraphin are highly intelligent. The Serapha are highly intelligent, physically elongated race. They are wafer thin and average 7 feet in height. Their skin is pale and translucent, revealing veins and blood vessels below. The forearms, each with a delicate four-fingered hand, and are bipedal. They are slow-moving and exquisitely graceful. They require little oxygen and can hold their breath for hectoticks. Occasionally, they forget to breathe altogether and black out, waking a kilotick later in cringing embarrassment. Their faces are long and extremely thin. They have two saucer-like eyes set wide for dilate and undulate smoothly and repetitively during conversation. They have no nose, breathing instead through gill-like apertures in the oral cavities. The translucence of their facial skin reveals in disconcerting detail the contents of their mouths as they chew, and one can follow the progress of food through their throats as it slips into the stomach and out of sight. They look silly in hats. An integral part of Serapha communication is gesturing with two damp tentacles which protrude from the base of the neck and double as a bolo tie during business meetings. Even during perfectly calm discussions, Seraphins reinforce their speech with spasmodic flailing of the tentacles, which often flap across the listener's face, an experience akin to a back-and-forth slapping with a wet washcloth. Seraphins who do business off-world have learned to suppress this tendency. The most notable feature of the Serapha, however, is their deity-like intelligence. They can absorb information quickly and can easily sort through vast memories to retrieve an obscure fact. While unable to actually predict the future, they can understand the consequences of current actions far into the future. For example, observing a fan blowing out a candle, they can exactly predict the flickering of the flame in real time and know to within a tenth of a second when the nearby drapes will be engulfed in flame. Using this intelligence and farsightedness, the Serapha have eradicated all social problems on their homeworld of Famoctal, poverty, crime, prejudice, disease, and physical want. They have stabilized population, perfected productive technologies, ensured a high level of economic growth, and turned one of their moons, Nuria 12, into a luxury world of second homes. More recently, they have turned their capitalistic skills off-world, buying nearly 75% of the galaxy's real estate. As blessed as they are with intelligence, the Serapha are not equally endowed in creativity and artistic talent. They are rarely able to produce work great enough to overcome their own highly advanced critical abilities. Even the most perfectly composed symphony contains flaws obvious to Serapha ears, and quickly becomes not only boring but unlistenable to them. The Serapha today are cynical, listless, moody, and above all, bored. Few develop unpromising poetry, barely palatable art, and bland music. The remainder labor in boring jobs which require a fraction of their brain power. Drug use is rampant, an inevitable consequence of boredom and restlessness. Even more than hallucinogenic drugs, Serapha prefer electric current directly to the brain, activating connections of pure pleasure. Pure pleasure. Seraphins are fairly common, sight away from their home planet, as they are widely sought out for their problem-solving and directorial skills, and as their off-world real estate ventures frequently require travel to distant planets. However, they are no more happy off-world, since they must constantly deal with beings of lesser intelligence and observe as these beings screw everything up despite all the Seraphins' admonitions. Seraphins are regarded by other species in mixed terms. They are appreciated for their uncanny abilities to assist governments and corporations in long-term planning. Seraphin approaches you with advice. He is always completely accurate. You won't get that couch up those stairs unless you cut 12 microns off that front leg. While helpful this information is delivered on Seraphin's board, exasperated, I can't believe you need to be told this voice, accompanied by the spasmodic flapping of its gesture tentacles. And that's enough reading for today. So let's cheat a bit and just pop in the disk and the load game instead of going all the way back over to talk to Deven-7 again. Was it one? Was that the one? Or did I just foul this up? Figure out which slot did I save in. Yeah, this is the right slot. Okay. So let's go upstairs and see what other wacky stuff there is to see, other than kissing that female strapping and ending our game. Well, this looks familiar. Michelangelo's David.
I picked up this little trifle at an auction while I was pleasuring on Ganter 9, 20 megazocs. At first, I didn't know what to do with it. The thing was 3 stories high. But I have this chap I use on Pockrell who works with these things, and I had him miniaturize it so I could use it as a coat rack. Of course, the original was destroyed in the process, but I had no use for it anyway.
So we destroyed Michelangelo's David to make a coat rack. The pool.
My pool was designed by Arvietta 9 back before he became such a hot commodity. I understand there is now a 45-year wait for an Arvietta design pool.
You really should finish this deal before you take your daily swim. So we can talk to her. Oh, there's a plant. You're not familiar with this variety of plant. You leave such decisions to your robo-gardener. That would be a task for a mere robo-gardener. Yeah, inventory-wise, we got nothing. We got a map of his apartment. But as you'll see, when I finally get started on it, bedroom, meditation, workstation, alcove, dining area, gel tube, bedroom. We haven't been into his bedroom yet. Shays Lounge. You have to have something to mark off as Shays Lounges. Today's schedule: breakfast with Nanu 9. Nanu. Present offer for Mulch 2. Signed papers for Pizer 5. Meet Urk 4. Arpit 3. Lunch with Frisbee 5. Meet Prime Minister of Pizer 5. As we are super important planet buying man. So let's just let's finish messing around before I get to into what his actual quest is. His actual quest is entirely done on computer. I mean, his computer. No, I want to go into the here. According to the map, I should be able to get to another area. Other I haven't visited it. We're here. When I get into here, you have the servant's kitchen. There's the gel tub, meditation. I don't know. Maybe there's nothing else over there to see. This is the bathroom, though. I know that, which means I think that I thought there was a hallway over here. What happens if I go over here? Oh, okay, now I am in a different area. There's another gel tub. A small hot tub. Although the gel tub in the main chamber is larger, it's nice to have this tub available if you don't feel like walking that far. View screen. View screen is convenient for when visitors arrive while you are soaking in your hot tub. A towel. You are one cool fruit who knows where his towel is. You dried your hands on this towel earlier today and it hasn't been replaced yet. It looks like your robo-launcher is heading for the scrap heap. Oh, robo-launderer. Alcove. A pleasant spot for relaxation and meditation. An armoire. This virtual closet is just linked to your actual wardrobe, which is stored in hyperspace and occupies a space of 20,000 cubic yards. You are not dissatisfied with your current garments. Your bed, examine.
It's about time I throw this mattress away and buy a new one. I've had it almost 2 weeks. I also detect a 0.03% sag slope has developed.
You promised yourself you wouldn't sleep until this deal was closed. There's a lamp. The light is an excellent forgery of a piece of furnishing art designed by Borax of Izor approximately 175 years ago. Of course it is. The light is biometrically linked to your body rhythms and will extinguish itself as it detects you dropping off to sleep. Headless statue. Examine. Although this Terran piece has little value, you could not resist buying it after hearing its history. It was stolen from an art museum and located the next day in a drinking establishment in one of the planet's red light districts. The newspaper headline that day read, "Headless statue found in topless bar." Yeah, I would want to buy that too. Alas, that was never located. A modest dressing table. Okay, let's get started. Maybe we can screw this up first, though.
This is the door to the powder room and mud spa. It looks like Quash is still inside.
Quash.
The powder room is currently occupied. The nearest unoccupied powder rooms are in guest quarters 15 and 24.
Because upstairs we have somebody who's waiting to make a deal with us. Same thing is going on here.
What do you want?
We can validate his neuroses, make threats, or be gentle but firm. I want to blow this deal and start over. So let's make threats.
If you don't come out right now, you can forget about the deal.
Fine with me. At least you'll leave me alone. By the way, I sent out for Izorian food. Have the robo-butler bring it in when he arrives. What do you want?
Now, Quash, you know you're going to have to come out so we can get this deal on track.
I'm perfectly happy right here. Where is it written that planetary purchases can't be negotiated through a bathroom door?
Planetary scale deals put a lot of pressure on everyone. I'm surprised that more people don't lock themselves in bathrooms. I often feel inclined to do so myself.
You do?
Quash, unlock this door or I will instruct my robo-butler to break it down.
I think not, Kevin. I happen to know you paid 43 megazots for this woodwork. However, I question whether I want to be partnered with someone who loses his temper so easily. Leave me alone while I consider this. What do you want?
Planetaries. So, if we had decided to negotiate this deal at my campsite in the Schleb Mountains, would you currently be locking yourself in the outhouse?
I detect an element of sarcasm in your comment, and I will now end this conversation while I reconsider my involvement in this deal.
Okay, see, I keep expecting to completely lose, but apparently you can't do that with him the way that you can with her by kissing. So let's start this from the very beginning. And I don't know why I bothered to load, because this, I'm also going to waste a lot of time in here. This is the computer console we can examine.
This console is the nerve center of my diversified operations. Communications, modeling and simulation, financial info harvesting, vast databases. All lines pass through this locus.
And we can try to turn it off.
I'd just as soon stop the beating of my own heart.
Let's sit at the terminal. This is where his actual mission takes place. We have to conduct a real estate deal. Here's the deal summary. We're trying to buy Armpit 3. The costs are coming from these three Seraphins who currently own it. Then apparently politicians and environmentalists are also going to be a cost factor. And we have to put together a consortium of buyers. Let's get... let's get some deal background data. Planet Armpit 3, 1.38 billion people. A consortium. It's owned by Urk 4, Yeef 8, and Quash 23. Dense rainforests, an oxygen-rich atmosphere, and a metal-laden crust are the notable features of an otherwise small, habitable planet. It's one of 3 inhabited planets in the Armpit system. I recommend a course of action to put together a group of investors into specific parts of the planet's natural resources, and then gut the planet for raw materials. Yeah, see, he's not really that nice of a person. We've already received bids from different groups of investors. Note that with the exception of Mineral Mart, these are all block bids and must be accepted or rejected as such. We cannot cherry pick a bid by, for example, accepting Ray's bid for zinc without also accepting his bid for uptite. it may be necessary to use negotiating teams to improve some of these bids, as well as to call on other interested parties, such as the environmental lobby. We must move quickly to get an acceptable offer on the table before a rival group can beat us. We may have a kilotick or less. In addition to prestige, D7 Realty Trust will reap a 5% commission on all buyers' bids and 2% management fee for the entire deal. These commissions and fees have already been factored into all bids. Once a name has been accepted, Deven will select an internal code name for the deal, which is what Alias needs to figure out, and win the bet with Deven, which will get him rewarded with something we don't know. Buyers, we have all these buyers to choose from. Like they said, these are block bids. Mineral Mart will buy this stuff individually, but like if I want to get Ray's on board, oh, here's his bio. I didn't actually want that. If I want to get him on board, boom. I cannot also have Guild on board because they would both have rights to zinc. I can only sell each of these resources to one buyer in our consortium. And so you're basically looking at this number puzzle and you're trying to figure out what's the best you can get total. Like, here you can get 11 or 10 for cesium. I guess is that cesium? That's not cesium. It's probably not really a SC is Sanzium mining rights. You got zinc, barium, regallium, uptight, platinum, Sanzium, oxygen, water extraction, lumber harvesting, croc harvesting, medicine extraction rights, turf extraction, artificial structure ownership and removal rights, and exclusive pollution dumping rights. So yeah, like these two, can't have them both at the same time, but they're both pretty good because they're giving us a good price for this item. So yeah. Hopefully the quality of the video is good enough that you can look at this and start making your own conclusions. But we're going to run into issues here and there. For example, I remember Sangen 11. The coordinator of an asteroid colonization cooperative, he offers fairly good bids on the oxygen and structures he needs. Past history indicates that his bids have wiggle room and are more often than not. After accusing Dork 44 of cheating during the final hole of a bitterly contested round of his wicks, he and Dork are no longer on speaking terms. This doesn't mean that much, since Dork is only on speaking terms with 7 people galaxy-wide. Nonetheless, the two will not participate in the same deal. So if you go in and read the bios, you realize that these two, you can't use both of them, which is a shame because they each have one of the bigger numbers here. And one of these people had another little weird tick that was worth looking at. I can't believe it's not zinc. She sells a product called I can't believe it's not zinc. Chandra 15. Gung 14. He represents the Lollipop Guild, the Xlif Mega Holding Group, and their insatiable appetite for any mineral rights to a planet. Childhood trauma leaves him unable to be a partner in a deal with any Straffin whose number includes the digit 8. So, for him, we can't use him at the same time as we use Vebel 18, who gives a good price for this particular thing. And that's the only thing that Vebel 18 is interested in, which is nice. Like, Pylon 3, well, we must not construct additional pylons, because Pylon 3 has this huge block bid, where she wants all this stuff, and it's much better for the people who are only buying one or two things because you can combine them in different ways and get good prices. She's offering like not a good price for this, not a good price for this. She's got a decent price for this. Yeah, you see what I mean. So that's something we are going to have to sort out. We also have to figure out what the seller. Yeah, this seems really complicated at first. It's not too bad once you get into it, but we've got to figure out what's going on with the sellers. One of the 10 wealthiest Seraphins on Hippoctal. As with most Seraphins, especially the hyper-wealthy, she has various small idiosyncrasies. Her deal-making seems to be increasingly oriented towards her retirement years, especially ensuring that she can spend time with her 7 right grandchildren and 12 left grandchildren. Although highly motivated in her desire to sell her share of Armpit 3 quickly, Urk is renowned for never budging from her initial offer. Yeef is an extremely reclusive Seraphin and almost never leaves his 75,000-acre estate on a private tropical island. His interests lie in breeding insects and building small model sailboats. He often combines these interests by sending insects on long ocean voyages. It is believed that he has long wanted to dispose of Armpit 3, but until now has been unable to convince his partners to deal. It is therefore possible that his initial asking price is soft. She's upstairs. We kissed her and broke the deal. He's somewhere else. Quash is the guy who is hiding in the bathroom. Extremely neurotic, even for a wealthy Seraphin. During a recent negotiation, he spent the entire meeting locked in a linen trunk, communicating only by slipping printed messages through the keyhole. His need to wake up every hectic to change his pajamas leaves him in a permanently sleep-deprived state. Quash, the junior partner of the consortium that owns Armpit 3, is part owner in over 100 worlds, but is not a majority owner of a single planet. Biographies of other people. Swanza 5, politicians and environmentalists. Swanza 5 is an incredibly rich patron of the arts and higher education. Swanza is searching for a planet with beautiful vistas for the construction of a new university devoted to earnest study in secluded paradisical setting. He is particularly taken by the greenery, rainforest life, and natural beauty of oceans teeming with aquatic life that is currently found on Armpit 3. Swanza has a deep-rooted streak of naivete, and apparently has no idea that virtually any successful bidder for Armpit 3 will completely gut the planet. Furthermore, there is no legal reason that compels us to inform him of this fact. Almost any negotiating team should be capable of eliciting a healthy bid from Swanza for the right to build his university. You can mess this up. If you send one of your junior negotiators, they will let it slip that you want to gut the planet and ruin the deal. I know that because this is one of the ones I played around with off camera, although I didn't actually beat it, so you'll get to see me beat it eventually. The political wing of the staff reports that the leaders of Armpit 3 will demand the safe evacuation of all planetary residents. Ensuring their complete safety and comfort will cost 30 gigazox. However, they may be willing to settle for a hasty and unsafe evacuation at a mere 15 gigazox, provided a skilled negotiating team can discover a way to give them something they want. And the environmentalists. Their signature on the deal document is necessary or the sale will not go through. There is no doubt that these asteroid huggers will insist that you agree to leave the planet's resources intact. If you send a good negotiating team to meet with them, however, it is possible that they may have a price. Everybody's got a price for the $1 million, Seraphin. Anyway, there's more stuff to read. I mean, we've got our own staff bios. Maybe I'll squeeze those in real quick, and then the next video will actually start this up. Norg72. These are people who... Alright, let me explain how this works real quick. When we go to a dispatch a negotiating team, we can say, alright, send them to meet the politicians. We can pick amongst these 6, or we can send all 6 at once. Like some grouping of these 6, we will send. So, of course, we can only have them out 6 out at a time. It's a little bit like Aerobiz, in a sense. We've got agents who have to go out and do stuff. So, let's read their biographies, and this video is already going too long. A young rapscallion who doesn't take his job too seriously, Norg is nonetheless useful for his proficiency at Zwix, although an idiosyncrasy prevents him from using even-numbered clubs on cloudy days. He is a poor negotiator and diplomat, always takes twice as long as anybody else to get anything done, and is not completely trustworthy. On the upside, he can drive. He has good voltage tolerance and is a fine oboe player. A tempestuous affair with Lentil has left the two incapable of working together on a team. Pnerth. Very young and idealistic, Pnerth was drafted right out of college for her knowledge of politics, economics, and the environment. She is fairly efficient and trustworthy, but is still learning and must therefore be teamed up with one of the 3 older people to prevent a complete breakdown. Her negotiation ability is subpar, she has 0 tolerance for voltage, and she can't drive. One claim to fame, she can fit an entire bundt cake into her mouth. Zig64, one of the younger members of your staff. Zig is flighty and efficient. She often misplaces materials and must spend hectoticks looking for them. Her negotiating skills are fairly good. She can't hold her voltage, but she can drive, and she has special knowledge of finance. She is charismatic and a charmer, and an incredible master of Ool, the 7-dimensional Seraphin checkers game. She is notorious among the staff for her ability to burp the entire alphabet. Lentil is the meat and potatoes of the operation. She is highly efficient and trustworthy, has fairly good but not outstanding diplomatic skills, and can drive. She likes to work independently and is only half as skillful when teamed with someone else. You almost always want to send her alone. She has good voltage tolerance, strong knowledge of both finance and environment, and is, like Vargas, older and highly respected. A tempestuous affair with Norg has left the two incapable of working together on a team. Vargas 20. An elderly and respected Seraphin, Vargas is an asset to your operation. He has excellent diplomacy and deal-making abilities, very trustworthy. On the downside, he can't drive and takes 25% longer than average to complete any task. He also has no voltage tolerance. A single jolt can leave him too intoxicated to negotiate with a simple sidewalk vendor, let alone a planetary trader. He has special knowledge of political systems. And Jurg. Middle-aged and hard-working, extremely trustworthy, fairly efficient, possesses average negotiating skills. He can hold his voltage, but he cannot drive. He has no other special knowledge, but is fairly skilled at Zwix, often scoring as much as 13.6 under par. And that's it. This video has gone way too long, but when we come back, we're actually going to start doing the mission of closing this real estate deal. I hope you guys will watch that. I hope it's at least a little bit interesting to follow. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.